Welcome into your Nothing But Net Olympic update. Kane Pitman here in Lille, just minutes after the Boomers go down to Canada 93-83 in what has to be said was a highly entertaining game of basketball. And if you are on the Australian side and you're feeling a little bit disappointed, you're probably looking back at the second half and in particular the third quarter and the inability of this Boomers offense to control the ball on the offensive side of the play. At the end of the night, the points off turnovers count 28-10 in favor of the Canadian team. 15 of those came in the third quarter, and we just spoke with head coach Brian Goorjian, and he actually thought this was a strong defensive performance from the Australians, but he said that in the half court, they were able to slow down this Canadian team, but not so much due to their poor offense. And if you look back at halftime with Australia leading by 4 points, it was Josh Giddey that was controlling the tempo. In the third quarter, that was not the case. Giddey sat for an extended period of time. And while Dante Exum was impressive on return, the turnovers and really the game just got a little bit out of control for Australia, and that's when the depth of this Canadian team was able to get off the chain. And ultimately, that third quarter proved pivotal for the Boomers going down in this game. Elsewhere, we did look at who was going to be put in the torture chamber in this game. Lou Dort, one of the most physical defenders in the entire world. And it was Patty Mills in this game. Mills finished 2 for 10 from the floor, and he had Dort attached to his hip for almost the entirety of the 40 minutes in this game. I just spoke with Canadian head coach Jordi Fernandez, and I asked him why they went into this matchup and identified Patty Mills as the guy that Lou Dort was going to defend. And he said, well, look, I've been watching Patty Mills over these exhibition games. We've seen him early in the Olympics in that game against Spain, and he said he's looking like 25, 26-year-old Patty Mills. So they went with Lou Dort. The other point that Fernandez made, you don't want this guy anywhere near you on the basketball floor. And that was kind of the plan for Australia. Brian Goorjian said that whoever Dort was defending, whether it was Mills or in short spans, Josh Giddey, it was to keep the ball away from Dort. Almost use that player as a decoy. But ultimately for this Australian team that lacks three-point shooting and needs that point of attack jump shooter that Patty Mills has brought for so many years for the green and gold, it did not work out. And ultimately only 83 points for this team. Not going to be enough against the firepower of the Canadians. Elsewhere, Dante Exum, he made his return after having that compound dislocation of his right index finger, and he was really good. He played important minutes, as I mentioned, in that third quarter, and I asked Brian Goorjian about his impact. He said, look, he is a key piece for this team. When we need things to settle down, we're happy to have Exum on the floor, and more importantly, against the top echelon teams, whether it's Canada, whether it's Team USA moving down the line, he gives them the opportunity to have 3 ball handlers on the floor. So Exum was good first time up. But now for Australia, it's Greece, it's Giannis Antetokounmpo, and we were in the building behind us a little bit earlier today, and Greece went down to Spain. They are now 0-2 in the Olympics. The Boomers 1-1. And Goorjian said, look, we have never come up against a guy in the last few weeks that plays like Giannis. He's going to get a lot of his touches at the elbow. He's the most physical player in the world, and he might be the best player in the world. But he said, we have to now regroup. At halftime today, we felt confident. At halftime, we felt like we were in a good spot. Now we need to remember that. This was a measuring stick game. It's not all bad. Just moments in this game cost the Boomers, according to Goorjian. And he said, hey, look, the reality is we're fighting for our Paris life. If we don't win that game, we might not be heading to Paris. So the Boomers go down to Canada 93-83. As I said, it was an entertaining game, but not the result you wanted if you're a fan of the green and gold. Keep it locked on ESPN.com.au for all the coverage you need from here in Lille and the Paris Olympics.